This is Governor Bobber. I like good day, doctors.
George Allen here. Good day, doctors.
Go!
You're watching Dr. Politics.
They're Dr. Politics. He's the one to see. Breaking down the news with sharp analysis. From Congress halls to campaign trails, he tells the truth when all else fails. They're Dr. Politics. Dr. Politics. Exposing the spin, the lies and tricks. Dr. Politics. Dr. Politics. He calls it straight, no politics as usual. Love from backroom deals to primetime fights. He sheds some light and sets things right. Debates, elections, policy. He cuts through all the DC sleaze. Oh, Dr. Politics. He's got the facts. Dr. Politics. No holding back. Dr. Politics. Go away. Dr. Politics, he's got the facts. Dr. Politics, no holding back. Dr. Politics.
Hey, it is Friday. Early voting has started. That is why our friend Chris Burnett is not joining us right now, but he will be on with us a little bit later if time allows. Talk about the excitement and buzz that's going on during the early voting, which started yesterday. And yesterday we had the heat, and then you had those horrible thunderstorms roll in the evenings. I tell you, you guys that cover the polls, for Republicans out there, good job. You're better than the mailman.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, even though I mailed my ballot in and it's very convenient, I mean, I still would be very much in favor of going back to the old system of you really needed to have a good excuse to vote, absentee, and that
Yeah.
you need to vote in person and make it's election day, not election weeks or months or whatever.
Yeah, like it is. Virginia is like a month. And I think in Virginia for November, they'll start early voting in September. And it goes all the way to close to the end of October, which I really think we need to go back to just voting on election day, frankly. Remember we had a bunch of scandals that came out after early voting started in the past. I mean, what are we going to, you can't go and take your vote back if you voted the wrong way,
Right. I mean, the thing about early voting, I mean, I don't know, for a lot of these primaries, at least, for us in Maryland, it doesn't really, as Republicans, it doesn't have a lot of effect in most cases. But, general election, it can, because things can change. I mean, if you have early voting a month or whatever way out, or longer than that, there's still a lot of stuff that can happen in the last 30 to 40 days of a campaign that could change your opinion. And then you've cast your ballot already, when you're saying, I wish I hadn't done that. So, you force people to think a little bit more. So,
and that's why Mr. Worf is right. Listen to Worf.
Never go wrong with Worf.
Exactly. Yeah. I've actually gotten a little Gowron too, which is funny. And I got one of Gowron and Worf saying, we don't agree a lot, but we do agree that if you vote Democrat, you have no honor, nor does your house. Oh boy, I'm gonna have so much fun with new creations in AI this year. Because it used to take a lot longer and to do this. This would take me almost 3 hours in Photoshop if I wanted to do it in Photoshop like this. Now it takes about 2 minutes on the long end.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you can do a lot with it, and it's I'll if I write something, I'll use AI to kind of be my editor, my proof
Yep.
reader,
Hmm.
just to fix anything I wouldn't have had typos or whatever in there.
Yeah.
Does a pretty good job actually. So
And actually, you know what else AI does, which I like, is if I wrote something for the club one, what do you call it, data centers. I threw that whole thing into AI. I said, hey, now give me the counter arguments to what I'm saying, and tell me how I can counter those arguments that would be made. And so it made for, I think, a much better article, because it gives you what the opposite side is saying, and then it gives you how to frame yours to debunk those claims. I mean, AI is not something people should be afraid of, frankly.
yeah, I mean, if and you just have to be smart with it, understanding
Yes.
that it's the hallucinations, as they call it. I mean, they are real. They will
Mhm.
they will make up some stuff in there.
That's why you have to proof it. You can't just let it go with that.
Right. I mean, usually, it'd be, I'll either go back to verify something that is said that I hadn't seen before, or I'll have already, scanned articles or other information, so I kind of know. It's like, no, they didn't say that, or okay, that's fine. They did that right. They formatted that correctly.
I tell you, what I found was great is I found a lot of my old articles that I used to write when I was at Free Congress and ATR and so on, right? And I actually was able to take a couple of those articles, throw them into AI, and go, tell me how I would say this in 2026. Give it a more modern spin to it. And it did a good job. Like I did an article on schools and how I'm looking for my article I did on 2 possible futures for the internet. Kind of take that and modify that to AI and data for data centers. But it did a really good job taking that article, modifying it, and modernizing it, and bringing in new statistical numbers, opposed to using the numbers from, say, 96 or 97. But it does good work. I am a fan of it. I'm also a fan of proofing AI, because you can't just let AI just do it for you, because it can be wrong. As the AI says at the bottom, AI can be wrong. I think is it ChatGPT or is it the NASA AI that says, AI can be wrong. But there's ways you can reduce those hallucinations if you give it follow-up articles and stuff like that. I actually uploaded the entire Ray Kroll story book. I mean, it was not a long book. Hey, we've got a special reporter. Hey, how you doing, Chris?
I'm sorry to join you late. I am outside in Germantown.
Yeah, how has the traffic been? Because I was talking to a few people yesterday. It was pretty light yesterday.
And it was light again today. I'm not sure if it's the weather or if it's just the first 2 days of an extended early vote, but the numbers seem a little low.
You might see more people over the weekend, possibly.
And that's sort of the thought, is that people will pick up over the weekend or certainly later next week. But I've been all across Western Maryland, and it's consistently been low numbers.
Mm-hmm.
What did I miss so far? Anything good?
Oh, we were talking about AI and how AI is awesome.
Well, I agree.
We talked about a bunch of things AI is good for, and how just like children, you can't just leave it to AI. You have to proofread what AI has written to make sure it doesn't say something wrong.
Yeah.
And
there's been a number of lawyers that have submitted briefs, and then there's been some hallucinations, and they've gotten into some ethical trouble because they didn't proofread their work. They submitted it to a judge, and only to come out false or not an accurate case. And there's no excuse for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were talking about. It's like AI can be useful, but you better review it and proof it yourself, because it does make up stuff.
Yep, the hallucinations are real. You're not hungry for ice cream, are you? There's an ice cream truck behind me.
Yeah. Yeah, where have all the ice cream trucks gone? That's a rarity now.
Well, unfortunately, it came right as the show started, so The only ice cream truck in Montgomery County is gonna make an appearance on the show tonight.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny is I
Ice cream bars,
don't like.
are they $5 now at a
Yeah.
truck?
Remember when you could get like a it was like the rocket ship popsicle for like 10 cents, Don?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
the
I
snowballs
got,
were like 20 cents, I think. The snowballs were like 20
yeah,
cents as well.
everything was pretty cheap. And I mean, I got a little sentimental because when I was doing something this week at an event at lunch, they served Blue Bunny ice cream, and that one of the things there was a strawberry shortcake bar,
Hmm.
which brought me back to my
Good
child.
Humor, yeah, Good Humor used to make those.
Oh
They had
yeah,
they had an
exactly.
almond one. They had an almond one, which is better, I thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love the strawberry shortcake. I mean, I
Yeah,
love strawberry shortcake, the dessert itself,
yeah.
and I so that's why that's I kept thinking today. It's like, yeah, you just don't see the ice cream trucks. You wouldn't see one in my neighborhood because there are virtually no kids in my neighborhood anyway,
Yeah.
and they need that. But I think that whole model has just changed. You have to find out where people are going or people are going to be. Maybe you go to an area where they're going to be food trucks because they're serving food. Somebody wants a dessert, go to the ice cream
Hmm.
truck.
Yeah.
Well, Don, I can tell you, my two little ones, they will find an ice cream truck, and you were right. They're about $5 a piece now. And so
You know what you don't see a lot in Florida is ice cream trucks like in neighborhoods. I remember years ago my niece Nikita came. She thought it was like the craziest thing seeing an ice cream truck, ice cream from a truck.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I mean, I used to wait, listen for the music, right?
Yeah.
And then everybody in the neighborhood would just like run after the truck. In the days when people were actually having kids and neighborhoods were
Mhm.
full of kids, hardly anybody's having children. I mean, Chris, you're almost like an outlier. You've got what, 4?
I've got 4, and it was terrible family planning. I've got a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, 16-year-old, and 18-year-old. So just
You got built-in babysitters,
Definition gap.
Chris.
you
You
would
got
think
built-in.
so. They all act like they're about 5. So
Yeah, see,
Well,
my daughter has 7 between the ages of roughly 1 to 14.
that's a lot. My goodness, I will never
Uh,
complain again. She has 7.
7, all by C-section on top of that.
My
oh wow.
goodness. Well, I will say this: having 4 is a headache, but it's also a lot of fun. I can't even imagine 7. It must just be a party everywhere they go.
It's as my wife said, because my daughter's 40th birthday is coming up this month, and so it's kind of like this just makes me feel so doggone
Where
old.
has the time gone? Little
Yeah.
Chrissy is turning 40.
Yeah, she's turning 40, but my wife, she noted correctly that every time we go and visit them, that my daughter will be sitting on the couch, uh, and she'll frequently just nod off because she's exhausted. She is shuttling kids everywhere most of the day, and if she sits down, it's like this, and yeah, it's like I don't know how she does it. I mean, she was
She should be
one of
napping
3.
24 hours a day, frankly.
Yeah. Well, she's one of 3, but she married a guy who was one of 9, I think it was, or something. So, they
Do you remember
they
that guy Dave that worked over for ATR? He had like 17, 18 siblings. I mean, our friend Tom, he was the eldest of how many? 12 kids?
something like
13?
that. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I did know a family here locally for a while that they had like 13 kids, and they didn't have a
Were
very
they the
big house,
Duggars?
but they just managed to do. I mean, I think they added on a little bit, but boy, I mean, how do you cram all those kids into a small house?
Yeah.
You make it work. It can be a headache sometimes, but children are a great blessing in our lives.
I mean, look at the Waltons. Look at the Waltons, all those kids in that house,
Well, and look, there are not many families that are modeled after the Waltons anymore.
No, they're not. They're not, because John Walton, he didn't work the farm. Because he had a farm, right? He was a farmer, right? Or did he own a mountain?
Yeah, I think they still had to do some farming, but I mean, life is just very different. Most people opt not to have kids. They love their pets more than they love having children. And I mean that's why worldwide we're facing this whole demographic problem, just of where are the kids going to come from, the people going to come from to power these countries forward, in the generations to come. Asia's in trouble, Europe's in trouble, and we're teetering a little bit.
Well, we got the baby bond that President Trump has out there. You have a kid, you get $2,000, I think, is it, in a bond or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, but it's not that's not something that's like that's an incentive in a sense, but it also is they're going to give it to children that are already been born between a certain age. So it's not like the European model, which is like you have a child, you're going to get $5,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because people have now morphed to putting an economic number, a value on children. And yeah, it's expensive to raise children. But if you
what did they say? What did they say? $100,000? At least that's what they said in the '90s.
If you think about them as just an economic, burden, you're thinking the wrong way. I mean, this is terrible.
Don, I've had that conversation with some young folks. Like they're delaying getting married, they're delaying having children. They usually connect it to affordability. They say, well, I just can't afford to buy a house, to get married, to have kids. But I would agree, if you're thinking at it, if you're looking for the right time to have a kid, you'll never have any, because it's never a good time.
Honestly, gotta tell you, nobody's ready to have a child. Frankly,
Exactly.
Everyone, it's never economically perfect time to have a child. It just happens. You don't.
Yep.
It's not like you don't need to do all this. You don't need to think that much, frankly. And just think all the joys children bring to you. In addition to, and here's one thing: a lot of these younger folks don't. Who's going to take care of you in your old age? You're going to go live in a home. Really? What kind of care is that? You want to be with your family,
Yeah, I mean, and we already have. I mean, we just have such a, the number of single people out there that are won't get married, don't want to get married, or whatever. Yeah, as they get older, who are they turning to take care of them? Their siblings or other people. I mean, they can't turn to their parents. Their parents are likely to be gone. It's just, it doesn't work out. I mean, this has become a worldwide problem in terms of trying to deal with this issue.
And siblings, I think that's a little selfish, relying on siblings or nieces and nephews to take care of you in your old age, so to speak. Hey, how you doing? Hey, say
Did you put me on live?
I did. My best volunteer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, she would beautify the program, so you can leave, Chris.
Yeah.
You have no. I go to places nobody wants to talk to me. They will walk right past me to talk to her, and I you know what? I've come to accept that.
It's kind of like Bob Dole once said that, when he was running for president in '96, he goes, "Yeah, everyone wants to talk to Liddy. They don't want to talk to me."
Well, he couldn't have been more. I mean, at least that's what I experience every time we go anywhere. But
so
I don't know. Go ahead. Can you see the bugs flying around my head here? In case you're wondering what I'm swatting at.
You must be swatting off the gnats and stuff like that, right?
I think, why doesn't Montgomery County pay to have, the same treatment I get at my house that keeps the mosquitoes, the ticks, and all the vermin away? Why don't they do that? I got no gnats, and it's funny. I went to my friend Marcus's house, and I'm like, I get eaten alive there, because I go, Marcus, the mosquito treatment and gnat treatment is only pennies a day.
they would spray when I lived in South Florida and I was at U.S. Southern Command. They would spray for mosquitoes, and it was great. I mean, it made a noticeable difference when they sprayed. But man, it is just I'm getting eaten alive here.
But mosquitoes in Florida are like this big. They're like mutants. They're gigantic.
Yeah, they're not natural. You're right.
But
Yeah,
we actually
gnats
have
are just a real pain in the neck because they're just tiny things that are just this. You just keep swatting them away, and what are you gonna do? But when it's hot and humid and you're sweating, it's like you become a magnet for them.
Yep.
You just described my life right now.
But you guys remember when Don, you may remember this, when I was a kid, I remember there used to be trucks that would go by in the streets and they would spray for mosquitoes, and they would even spray by airplane too. When I was
There've
a
been
kid.
that in the past, yeah.
It's like when did Maryland or Montgomery County stop doing that? I mean,
yeah, but
are we protecting the mosquitoes now?
I wouldn't be surprised if things like that that may have been lessened or gone by the wayside have just been.
The mosquito lives matter now, Don. Is that what it is?
Look at how militant Montgomery County is about just about anything. The lawn companies can't use certain pesticides anymore on your lawn.
I can't buy Roundup in Montgomery County. I got to go to some other county to buy it.
Yeah, I know. You want Roundup? Go up to Frederick, the Costco, buy it there, and bring it back. I saw it the other day, and I think I guess this would be contraband, right? I mean, it's like
that is the absolute best weed killer. There's nothing better than Roundup to kill weeds. Like on my pavers and back, I'll spray it, and they're gone for an entire season. It is. That's how great it is.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a lot better than the other stuff. But I kind of live with what we have. But I guess I hadn't really thought about it only until I saw it the other day at Costco in Frederick. I said, "Yeah, I should be buying it up here and just carting it back to my home so I can spray the weeds that
Or Don, you could also start a black market for get people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably do that with
that'd be like buying styrofoam cups somewhere and bringing them into Montgomery County.
Yep. It's like what do you call it? You could probably even do that with gas powered lawnmowers. Go buy them and Frederick and come down here and sell them to landscapers.
Little by little, we just keep seeing things disappear. I mean, so I use a lawn care company now, and I see on Nextdoor people are complaining. It's like, I thought we had passed an ordinance that they can't use gas powered weed cutters, edgers and trimmers and things like that, but they're still using them. It's like, I don't know how they would use anything else, because you're supposed to have them carry, go and spend money to buy a battery operated leaf blower or whatever, and then carry the batteries for it on top of that, because they last for maybe 20 minutes at a time. That the added cost of their business, and not just from an expense standpoint, but switching those out, keep charging them. I mean, it would just add to.
And those batteries don't recharge forever.
Right. Like it's like everything else. It's like you have anything that's a lithium battery, it eventually loses charge. I mean, that's we see that with our phones, right? I mean, over time our phones degrade.
Yeah, remember iPhones? Apple was actually doing something that sucked about them. They actually did something on the programmatic level to prevent the phone from ever charging to 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I set my Apple devices, my iPad and my iPhone, to charge to 80%. Yeah, because there's a setting in there, and that's fine as long as I'm not going to be using it for a long period of time, or if I'm not carrying a power bank, because I won't use it that much. I know that if I do use it a little bit more, I can see it drop into the 30s, and that makes me a little more nervous about things.
Yeah,
but. I was going to ask Chris, so you talked about it being slow. I mean, how are people feeling at this point? Have you interacted with a lot of people? I mean, I realize it's not necessarily a lot of people are flowing through at this point in time, but also, is this worth the expense of of having this early voting and all night if people aren't really showing up to vote? It just seems.
Yeah, I think, well, one, I mean, the first 2 days of early voting during the day, most of the people that are showing up have already decided, and it's, they're trickling in. The thought is that it could pick up this weekend because people aren't working. But given the numbers, I still think we should have 1 day of voting. Make it a national holiday. You show up, you show an ID, you vote. I know we've accommodated to the point where we've almost undermined at least the appearance of integrity. With the ballot problems we're having in Maryland, the issues that we're having with accountability, I don't know that it's worth the expense, and I don't know that it's worth the compromise that it creates, at least the appearance of. So if you asked me, we would have 1 day of voting. Everyone would take the day off of work and you vote. But unless the numbers pick up dramatically, this is not worth it.
And
Yeah,
by the way, and look at California.
Still counting.
Spencer Pratt was ahead. Now he lost because he. Are we supposed to suspend all reality and believe that every single mail-in vote went for Nintya Raman? I find that a little hard to believe. Not one vote went to Spencer Pratt. 100% of the ballots came in for her.
So I don't know how in Maryland you could accept. I know that the replacement ballots are supposed to be a different color and they're supposed to have different markings. But the reality is, how can you honestly say that there's going to be an accurate count after a batch of nearly 500,000 were sent out incorrectly, and then another 500,000 were sent out to those same people to correct it? Like, I think the voter integrity folks had filed for an injunction. I hadn't heard the status of that. I mean, we've got to take a serious look into whether or not those ballots can be considered. And we can't just tell everybody, vote early or vote on election day, but we're not going to accept mail-ins this year.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, before you jumped on, we were talking about, we need to go back to election day. And, and I've heard calls, like you said, make it a national holiday. And I wasn't really in favor of that before, but as these states have gone to this long drawn out period with early voting, California mailing every single voter in the state a ballot to vote by mail. I'm saying, like, okay, this may be the only solution, is that you give people a day off so they can do it. There'll be no excuses. They go and they vote, and that's it. And we go back to the old system for absentee ballots, that you have to apply for this and give a reason as to why you need to vote absentee. You're infirm, you're out of the country, whatever. It's like, I mailed in my ballot. I mean, I'm doing all of this by convenience, and but I would have no problem going back and driving a few miles down the road to my precinct, my poll, and voting there. But they've made this just way too easy, and that whole ballot thing this year. I mean, my ballot was correct, at least, in terms of, I got mailed, we got mailed Republican ballots. So I'm not sure, I guess they couldn't tell exactly how many. They probably thought this batch, and they sent that out to everybody. But then I had to remember, it's like, okay, I need to destroy the other ballot, because only the ballots that are coming are going to be valid, and it's just that's a can of worms. I mean, I think the Wall Street Journal had written an editorial that referred to, to California, about this, or maybe it was actually Nate Silver that mentioned this. I actually, it was Nate Silver. So Nate Silver from 538, and he's no conservative, where he went over the whole thing about what the California and this whole terrible slow count that they do. It's just that, even as a liberal, he says the problem is that it opens them up to charges of fraud and impropriety because of what happens there. Yep. And it's like, why are you mailing it to everybody in the state? People should, at least at the very least, they should have to opt in to get a mail-in ballot. Yeah. And the other thing about California is that they will accept your ballot for a week, up to a week after, as long as it's been postmarked by election day. No, short-term solution there too. It's like amend your law to say your ballot must be received by election day, not
Mhm.
postmarked by election day, so that you don't have the slew of things that are coming in, at the end and slowing everything down. California is a complete embarrassment to the country.
Well, yeah, here's another little factoid is that, yeah, I believe what was it, 2012 was the last time we had election day voting, right? We didn't have early voting in 2012. In the good old days, we could actually do a get out the vote campaign and all that fun stuff, right? And then we started having early voting, and they keep growing early voting. Now we got mail-in voting. The number of people that vote is exactly the same percentage-wise that it was before we went to this election weeks and mail-in votes.
I think California it has an extremely high percentage of people who vote now because of the way they are, but it's also a heavily Democratic state.
Yeah.
And it, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger legacy of allowing the jungle primary
That was the dumbest
has
thing that he
decimated the
did.
Republican Party.
Yeah. Because if we actually, I know they'll point to the fact that Steve Garvey came through the Senate side. He finished number 2 in the jungle primary last time around, and he lost the Senate race to the moron from California. His name is slipping my mind on purpose.
Bush.
Yeah.
Adam Bush.
Yeah. Who may be looking for a new job soon. Maybe he'll be, shifty shift,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just, the idea that a race for Congress, a senator, governor, or whatever in the state of California, you have basically 2 Democrats running against each other for that. It's like, what's going on here? Look at the mayor's race. I mean, you've got a liberal lefty, Karen Bass, who's done absolutely nothing good during her first term, and now she's being challenged, by basically a socialist.
Yeah, basically you have Lenin and you've got Trotsky. Those are options in LA.
Yeah. So it's
Sharon Bass is the Trotsky and Minthia Raman is Lenin. So take your pick, pick your poison.
Spencer Pratt has been interesting though, because now that he's out of the race, he just went on a kind of a full ballistic tirade, and he says, "Well, now I'm free and I don't have to do anything to follow the impress the morons at CNN and stuff like that." And he feels that he's been freed to a certain extent, and I think he's genuinely concerned about helping LA and trying to get things back on the right track. And so at least, even though he's not, they're going to have a liberal or far or a socialist. I think that'll just show. I mean, look, if Bass loses, they're really going to be in trouble. I mean, it's already bad enough as it is, but
I mean, YouTuber Graham Stephan, who's no conservative, at least I don't think he's a conservative, but he did a couple of, because he grew up in LA, and he actually did a video last spring, I think, it was last spring or last summer, about how horrible LA is. He was telling he used to come here when he was a kid, and he goes, it's not that long ago, because Graham Stephan, I think, is only in his early 30s. He goes, it wasn't that long ago. I used to come out here, and it was a place for families and so on. Now you can't go. You just can't go. It's like you don't want to go there. One, business have all shut down. There's a lot of crime, and that's stuff nobody wants to talk about, according to Graham's video. And he spoke to people at the chamber and stuff like that. And he didn't come out and say, because he's got his YouTube channel that gets probably Democrats and Republicans, but he did talk about it. He goes, has anybody thought, he kind of says changing leadership, he didn't want to say change, try the Republican way of doing things, but, he kind of alluded to that for what it sounded like he was doing. He was kind of suggesting, hey, have you tried the Republican way of doing things, market-based solutions, not truly grassroots stuff, not from top down, bottom up,
Yeah, I mean, I was talking the other day because I was doing some church-related things and talking to one of the seniors that I was with, and he and his wife are here for a little while, and they're from, I guess they're living in a kind of a more remote part of North Carolina, and he says one thing he noticed because they're living in D.C. area is just that the security guards at the grocery stores. He says
Hmm.
this was a new experience for him to see that. In his part of North Carolina, they don't see that, and they said,
Yeah.
yeah, they have to do what they can to deter crime, the shoplifting and everything else is.
Yeah, well, the downtown Bethesda Safeway as well as the Kensington Safeway. Now they have gates. When you go in, you got to go through a gate. And it's kind of like, remember the old Dark Drug had that little turnstile you had to go through when you went in? It's kind of like that, but it's not quite the turnstile. It's just doors that open. They sense you're there, they open, right? But they've also done this. Remember when grocery stores used to have 2 exits and 2 entrances? Now they all only have 1. The Safeway only has 1. Then again, the Kensington Safeway really had 1 entrance and 1 exit. But stores like, you go to like the H Mart on Georgia Avenue, they used to have 2 entrances. Now it's only 1 entrance. It's because of all the shoplifting. By the way, the shoplifting problem is so bad, so pervasive in Montgomery County. I am surprised more businesses are shutting down, frankly. And we've got a county council that doesn't want to address those problems. They feel more comfortable talking about, how Donald Trump is ruining this and ruining that, but they don't want to talk about, hey, why don't we do some of the problems we have here about crime instead of complaining about President Trump's doing quite a fairly decent job, guys. He brought order to D.C. and so on. But speaking of the president, did you see his tweet? He's talking about taking away home rule from D.C. if the wrong person wins the mayor the Democrat primary next week.
Yeah, he's just. I mean, we have jurisdiction over that, right? The federal government.
I hope he does that. I really do, because the mayor goes, well, we're not going to. Both candidates, we're not going to let Donald Trump. I don't think you have much of a say. He takes away home rule, you're not mayor of anything anymore. I say we bring back the control board. Let's find our next generation Julius Becton to run the city now. But
Wait, if you don't mind, I got to jump off. I'm going to help clean up our table, but
okay,
thanks for letting me dial in from here.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for being on our show.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and good luck. I guess you're going to continue this for the weekend.
All through the weekend next week. So just look for me anywhere across Western Maryland.
Yeah, and then on the 23rd, that's going to be a fun day for you.
I don't imagine.
On the 23rd, are you starting out in Western Maryland and making your way down?
You know what? We're probably going to make our way down, if I had to guess, because we'll want to be close to home with the kids at the end of the day. But, we got to think through that one. We're just trying to get through this weekend. Like,
where's the victory party?
We haven't even talked about that yet. We just wanted to make sure we were going to be close to home so that we'd have the kids in a place where they could go home. So we'll have to figure all that out.
Yeah, you can only leave kids alone for a certain period of time anyway.
If you leave alone too long, they start saying, hey, we can have a party while mom and dad are gone.
We don't want that.
All right. See you. Have a great weekend.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
You guys did all the work already? That's perfect timing.
We'll have to have you.
All right.
Well, okay.
You got to remove them. There we go.
Yeah. Because I once made the mistake of accidentally kicking myself off one, and you got to. So it's not fun. But yeah, I mean, a lot of other stuff is going on. We got elections this week. We've got that, and looks like there might be a peace deal in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean,
the president says he's close to a deal.
Trump does a lot of stuff. Iran will push back on it a little, and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff flying around. Stock market doesn't really know what to make of it. One day they're up, one day they're down, based on the rumors and what Trump says. And
the price of gas is below $89 now. I think it closed today like around $84, $85.
Yeah, I'd heard I think it had dropped below 90 at one point. So based on that, I mean, Yeah, well, I mean, we need if the Republicans are going to have any decent chance in
Yeah.
November of retaining the House, they have got to bring
I
down the
think if
price
we
of
could get
gas.
oil down to $65 a barrel or $55 a barrel, like the good old days from President Reagan, that is how President Reagan defeated the Soviets by, one of the things he did was the price of oil dropped, which made Russian or Soviet oil, not, could not prop up their economy because they were really, a petrostate more or less. That's how they were getting foreign exchange. And when the oil markets went, that's how it all ended, frankly, for them.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need to get a lot of supply. I mean, part of this is just that, you've got to get the strait opened, and you've got
Yeah.
to get more tankers through there and doing more things. So
And
that
here's the
supply
craziest
situation-
part. Yeah, you've got so many more people using gasoline. Like I said, when I was in India a few weeks ago, they all have 2 cars per household at the minimum. Some houses have 4. It's like that's a lot of people with a lot of cars. That they take a lot of oil.
Yeah, I mean,
granted, they call it petrol. They don't.
I try to minimize my driving anyway, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like you just have to go and do certain things, and
Yeah.
you got to go to certain places, and you can't help it. And our household's Costco addiction has us driving probably more than we should at times.
Oh, Costco's has a new dessert? Somebody was telling me about.
Yeah, they just recently added the strawberry shortcake sundae.
No, this is like in their regular. They got these little mini brownies, assorted pack of mini brownies.
Like in the bakery section?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the deal guy was talking about it on YouTube. I'm like, I'm not eating sweets as much as I used to, but if I were, I would run down and buy those.
Yeah, I mean, like the food court has become kind of interesting now because they're just
You back, Chris? Yes,
Nope.
not.
I wasn't sure what that was, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. I think he's gone for good now. But
Yeah.
but the food court, that tendency in the past was it just had the same items forever. People got used to,
Mhm.
the
there's something to be said for having the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people are still complaining that they don't have the whole, what is it, the works kind of pizza. They're only serving cheese and pepperoni, right? So their
Yeah.
solution now
Those
is
are probably their best sellers. So
they now sell a calzone that they say basically is a substitute for that. But on their sweets, their ice cream type of stuff, they've been experimenting. They dropped the churro, that
Yeah.
they used to sell forever and ever.
yeah,
And ever.
they dropped the mint for the churro.
Yeah, and then
And now
then they've experimented with, a brownie kind of sundae. They also actually had a churro sundae, and now they're doing strawberry shortcake sundae. I just tried this strawberry shortcake, a week ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strawberry sundae with some short pieces of shortcake. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. I don't.
Mhm.
I'm still gonna say I went and I got my peach milkshake the other day. I'm like, I've got 2 months to have my fill of peach milkshake. So
Yeah.
but that's probably my favorite dessert.
I think Chick-fil-A also has a frozen lemonade that's got
The frosted
vanilla-
lemonade stuff is good.
It's really good. It's got I think they add some vanilla ice cream to it because I do taste vanilla in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's part of that whole their base, ice cream, which is their dream thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think they actually now have a frosted peach, lemonade or
Mhm.
something or other in the mix. So I mean, I think Chick-fil-A's
And
been
they've got
really.
something they're doing with all the sodas too. They're doing something with the sodas too, but they only do.
Yeah, I mean, they added a line called refreshers. McDonald's has done the same. A lot of these other places have done the same thing.
I need to try the McDonald's. McDonald's has like an orange cream refresher. I want to give that a try. I haven't had the chance to do that.
Be like something like a creamsicle or something.
Yeah, I do like McDonald's used to have a creamsicle shake years ago, and they never brought it back.
Yeah, I did see something, I think, on a McDonald's sign around here about something about mango or whatever.
Mhm. Oh, why do they put mangoes in everything? Why? I don't like mangoes.
I mean, I love mango. It's but you got to do it right. I mean, actually, Costco did a mango smoothie 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't like it. I didn't think I thought it was terrible. They dropped that, and I don't think they'll ever bring that one back.
No, they won't. But I think they do. Costco's does sell these fancy mangoes, definitely. Like they put them in like little crates, but for mangoes, they're like 6 in a pack. They're actually relatively. If I ate mangoes, I'd buy them because they're relatively inexpensive, and those are good mangoes. From what I've seen, they're like you don't get the fibers, so you can cut them with a knife. You don't need to fight the mango to get it in a slice form and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, one thing about this, you talked a bit at the beginning about how hot and humid and rainy we've had it lately, and the chances are is that we're probably going to see a lot of this during the summer. Is that as we get into this time of the year, one of the great things is that we get fruit, strawberries, watermelon, all kinds of other fruits.
Have you had those yellow cherries yet, Don?
I don't think I've seen those.
They're like golden cherries, and they're better than the red ones. They're sweeter to a taste, while the red ones are a little tart. The Bing cherries, Although my favorite cherry is the maraschino cherry, though.
Yes.
Do you ever
growing up having plenty of those as a child? Yes.
Remember those little fruit cups you'd get in your lunch when you were a kid? There'd always be like one maraschino cherry, and there'd be a million peaches and pears and stuff like that. There'd be one maraschino cherry. It's always like a half a maraschino cherry.
Yes, those little fruit cups that were drenched in sugary syrup.
Oh, I love that syrup. I think Dole was the first one that started like doing that and putting pineapple juice instead of the sweet syrup.
Yeah, probably was not the best thing in the world for me was to eat a bunch of those fruit cups and then go like this and drink all the syrup up.
They had, I don't know, you don't see those anymore, but remember they used to have a lot of those. They also had those little pudding cups that were in the same type of canister. It was like pudding. And the only one that was any good was, I think, the butterscotch. The chocolate one didn't taste that good, nor did the vanilla. But the pistachio and butterscotch was actually decent taste-wise.
Yeah, I mean, there are things out there that I probably shouldn't be eating. I mean, I'm still trying to cut my sweets back, but when these places sometimes have a special, I'm like, okay, you reeled me in. Crumble did something the other day, and Paris Baguette is doing some things on Fridays for the next month, and I'm like, okay,
are they going up to Bastille Day?
Yeah, well, I mean, Crumble. This is the second time I remember Crumble doing this because I think Crumble, I think the cookie fad, the big oversized cookie fad, is fading.
Yeah,
and they've added dirty sodas to their shop.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's to me that's a signal of that that they're looking for other sources of revenue.
You know what? They should also add sandwiches, I think.
Well, those just become, they just every time you do something like that, you've just complicated your whole, kitchen operation, and everything like that. The sodas probably are not as bad, but any kind of food prep requires, a different kind of thing. And Crumble, I mean, it's an open environment and whatever when you go in there, and so you can just see the freezers and the refrigerators, and they're just sitting there, shaping the dough and laying out the cookies and whatnot. But they did a thing where you basically you order 6 cookies, but you pay for 4 of them for the price of 4. So that's a decent deal. And this Paris Baguette, which is very popular in Korea because that's really what it is it's a Korean bakery with a French name on it, right?
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, I guess I'd never paid enough attention to bakeries when I was a kid, but I loved bakeries when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's
There's
just
a
that,
new bakery in Kensington. I think it's Fresh Breads and Pizza. Very good pizza. And their
yeah,
cheese bread is really good. But the
yeah,
cheese bread I like a lot is the one that Costco's used to sell. You put it in the oven and then there's like cheese, little cheese, and you pull the bread apart in there.
yeah. But I realize now is that there's nothing really that a cheap bakery really doesn't exist because everything costs so much money. But I've kind of grown to like Paris Baguette when they run their members specials, kind
Hmm.
of a thing like that, their rewards program thing. It's just that they're constantly changing their menu. They come up with some new ideas so that you don't have the same old thing as it. And then they say, okay, here's the latest in donuts and croissants or cronuts, other breads.
But
You
is
know
Duck Donuts still around or are they gone?
who
Duck Donuts, are they still around or are they gone out of business?
the Duck Donuts in Gaithersburg closed a couple of years ago, at least. I think the one in Rockville is still there,
Oh,
but
good, good.
I don't go down there
Yeah.
anymore. So, but yeah, places come and go, for whatever reason. But you
Hmm.
get things like Paris Baguette, and if I stop by there on a Saturday, the place is really busy. So they're despite the fact that if you want a cake from Paris Baguette, you're going to probably have to pay like $60.
Hmm.
It's like, and I think people pay that price. I mean, I think they're willing to
Yeah.
pay that price for a good birthday cake.
Well, I mean, you go to Safeway if you want to get like a Carvel ice cream cake, the big one. I think it's like close to $60 too,
Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, they can.
and that's
I
an
think.
ice cream cake.
Yeah, I mean, I think Giant's got some Carvel in a freezer for.
Yeah,
Depends upon the size of the cake too. Any
I guess this
probably,
would be a yeah,
and like from 15 to $30 or whatever.
yeah.
But they're not going to be huge cakes. And
Is that
because
for a
of ice
sheet
cream
cake?
cakes, you better make sure you have room in a freezer to put it until you need it.
Yeah,
You know.
that's true. All they say is you're supposed to take it out like 15 minutes before so you can cut it, easier to
Yeah,
cut, but yeah.
yeah. But Costco and Sam's, I mean, I think they've definitely taken away some bakery business for cake
Hmm.
because they offer some cake and you can order ahead and you can put some personalization on it if you do
Yep.
so, and it's really cheap and the cakes aren't
Hmm.
bad, you know.
No, I
So
like the Costco's cakes. I also like the Giant I like the Giant cakes a little bit better than the Safeway cakes because Giant cakes they always seem to use the buttercream frosting, while Safeway sometimes use that whipped cream type, Cool Whip type frosting, which I can't stand that. It's like it's warm, it's not cold. It doesn't taste right. It's just bad. It's like heresy.
yeah, well, that's like one of the things that we've done for years, as we got older, is just like, okay, if we get or given a piece of birthday cake, or even when we're serving it, we usually just slice off almost all the frosting and just eat the
Yeah.
cake itself. I mean, the frosting
I
is
mean,
mostly fat, so
yeah. I mean, I like a good pound cake, frankly.
yes, we talked about that the
And
other day in my household.
yeah, and the Sara Lee pound cakes are like $9 for the larger
Yeah,
loaf.
I told my wife, I said, I ate so many Sara Lee pound cakes when I was
Yeah.
a kid. And I mean, you could buy that little tray for like $1 or something, whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. It certainly was always it was always a higher price point than say the Entenmann's pound cake.
Yeah.
But then again, back then Entenmann's I think was using palm oil fat in the cakes,
And,
which they're not now.
and Koreans love bakeries. I mean, they both Tour Le Jour and Paris Baguette do well as some other local operations. And they're big on breads. They have all kinds of breads, milk breads and things like that.
Hmm.
And a lot of them are quite good. A lot of them are basically uh, today's version of a pound cake. Just with a little different twist. And
Yeah.
it's like these there a lot of them are pretty good.
Well, if you go to the H Mart, the one on George Avenue, they've got a bakery. I don't know if they all have them, but I noticed that one has one. The cakes look good, but I just don't feel like waiting in line to buy the cakes because there's never anyone there behind the counter.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the one over in Montgomery Village. I've looked at the bakery over there, and it's interesting. I mean, you have a Korean store basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the bakery items, they're smart. They are catering to the Spanish clientele
Oh,
in the
really?
area. And so a lot of the items are made for Spanish taste, Hispanic taste, and things
So
like
you
that.
have like churros.
It's really interesting. So yeah, but that's the smart thing to do. I mean, you know, you'd think H Mart or Lotte or whatever are kind of strictly, just for Korean kind of thing like that. But if you've been through most of those, you now see, you see plenty of Hispanic foods and a lot
Yeah.
of Indian food and other kinds of foods
You know what's funny?
because we're very diverse out here.
Yeah. Well, funny how Patel Brothers, right? I remember when Patel Brothers was not as big as they were, and they'd only have like Indians working there. Now I go to Patel Brothers, I hear all these people talking in Spanish. I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of Spanish people working at H Mart. I mean, you've got some Koreans there, like working behind the counter and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But cashiers and the guys stocking produce and stuff like that, most of them are Spanish. There's a few other Korean workers, probably in the seafood section and stuff like that. But yeah, it's if they do a good job, that's fine.
The Great Wall sells live turtles for turtle soup. The Great Wall.
Yeah, I guess
store.
I shouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think I
And I'm
mean
like, that's a little creepy. You walk in there, you just see turtles walking around. I mean, it's not like you see the lobsters at the Giant that have their claws banned. But I mean, turtles. Honestly, they have other live stuff they sell too.
yeah, I haven't been in a Great Wall for a while. My wife has made it now.
Well, parking's just horrible there. You can never find parking there.
So I mean, I know of two of them. One in Germantown, one in Rockville.
I think one on Rockville Pike. Yeah.
Yeah, the one in Rockville, that parking lot's not big enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you go like on a weekday, if you go after 11 o'clock, it's still packed.
Yeah. And the thing
doesn't everybody go to work?
And the thing about it actually is that this is a generalization, but the Chinese, they're kind of rude, and so
Yes.
they don't really care about you. If they got a cart in there or whatever, they're going to butt in front of you. They don't they show no deference at all, and they act like that in the parking lot too.
Yep, they drive like maniacs.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyways, we're at final thoughts, Don. It is 8 o'clock.
Wow, how do we fill the time?
I know. Yeah, talk about grocery stores. That took the last 15 minutes, But yeah, let's just start with final thoughts.
All right, should I go ahead?
Yeah. Let's see. My final thoughts. Let's see. My wrist is still on the mends. It still hurts like crazy. Although I have found a miracle. It's called Murive. You spray it, and it kills the pain for a little while. Well, instantly, it freezes it, so. And that lasts for about an hour, and then you got to do it again.
Well, if it works, it works.
Yeah. I actually had my hand in ice water for a while today, and that actually worked really well, too. And I thought it was funny yesterday. So I goes, "Oh, your hand looks swollen." I'm like, "Does it really?" I mean, does it? No, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "It doesn't look swollen to me," but so I took a picture of that, sent it to my friend Dr. John. I go, "Hey, does this look? I mean, do I need to do anything more than what they told me to do with just wear the brace, But yeah, so that and early voting started yesterday. Everyone go vote Republican, at the polls. Montgomery County is interesting. We have 3 Democrats in Montgomery County executive, all 3 who have voted for tax increases. All 3 are now saying, "Oh, are we gonna trust them when they say?" Like Freidson is saying, I'm about affordability and making Montgomery County more affordable. You voted for the budgets, Andy. It's like it's not like you didn't vote for the budgets. You're part of the problem. You're not the solution. And thank God we have a solution. Esther Wells, who's running for county executive. She is the solution. Check her out at voteestherwells.com or Google Vote Esther Wells, and her website will come up. And then we have the red, white, and blue dinner coming on the 30th for the state party. Coming up fast, actually. I can't believe how fast it is, but yeah. And let's see, other final thoughts is bad drivers. Seriously, bad drivers. Get off the road. Stop driving. Well, at least stop driving when I'm there, And but when they say don't block the intersection, that means don't block the intersection. It's crazy. It's just insane. And that's all I've got, Don.
Yeah, just really quickly. I mean, Nancy Mace finished 5th in the gubernatorial primary in South Carolina. Not going to miss her. I liked her when she first started, but I think
she got a little uppity, sort of, didn't she?
I don't know. I mean, look, there are some people. I mean, we thought were halfway decent. I think at first, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Nancy Mace, but and 2 of them are gone now, and Lauren Boebert keeps hanging on there, but I wish she would go away as well. But
she's not long for this town.
Yeah, well, she switched. I think last time around she switched districts to stay in Congress, but
yep.
You can only do that for so long before voters catch up with you and say, no, you're just a crazy person.
Yes.
Graham Plattner won the Maine Democratic Senate primary to run against.
Yes. What does that say about the Democrat voter in Maine? What does that say about them?
Yeah, and look, I listened.
They could have voted for their governor. They could have voted for their governor, who was also.
Yeah. So I mean, that was what was part of the interesting thing too, right? It's like
it wasn't even close.
Janet Mills dropped out. Her fundraising wasn't good and everything like this, but it was too late to remove her from the ballot. She still got 20% of the vote, even though she had suspended her campaign long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a ABC podcast that does kind of a news wrap up every morning, and they had interviewed a lot of Democrat supporters, Democrat voters, and a lot of them are like, yeah, the things about Graham Plattner bother them, but they didn't see any other alternatives, so they were going to go vote for him, and just like,
yep.
Yeah, you guys complain about the Republicans, and definitely Republicans have some issues with with some of their candidates, but don't just try to be so that you guys are high and mighty. Plattner's he's got some problems. I mean, John Fetterman is trying to bring out the facts like, no, this guy's not, he's not good for the party. I think this is
Fetterman, but it really does impress me.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was just going to come to DC and be a crazy lefty hippie, no tie wearing, no jacket wearing member of the United States. I mean, he's actually a thoughtful liberal.
Well, he's had an independent streak, right? I mean, he looks at
the closest thing we have to a Scoop Jackson today, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean,
or Sam Nunn or Pat
Boyd. All those guys, Zell Millers and all those guys,
Bill
right?
Bradley, Joe Lieberman.
Yeah, I mean, people who are reasonable, liberals, and I think that's it. Fetterman's going to vote Democrat line most of the time, but there's sometimes he's going to buck the party because his conscience says no. I mean, it's like this doesn't make any sense, and he has spoken out against Graham Plattner, and he thinks that Plattner's bad for the party, but I think this gives Susan Collins the edge. I think Plattner is too much of a liability. Susan's up there in age and whatnot, but this is probably her last go round. I don't know that she's gonna after this one she's gonna try again. I mean, so I think that safe is pretty safe.
Yeah.
At this point as a result of that. And I know, and Dave, too bad he's not on the program because Dave wrote a column on that as well in his Substack. I do think that Trump the other day, when he said he loved inflation, was one of those, once again, another one of his dumb remarks. It was like, you go and you complain about Biden inflation and all this kind of stuff, and how you're going to bring things down. Your war with Iran drives up, food and energy prices, puts the pressure on a lot of people, a lot of voters that you need for November's midterms.
Yeah.
And your solution right now is I love inflation. He's getting tarred and feathered somewhat appropriately by the Democrats for doing it. So this is not the words the types of things you use at this point in time. But this is Trump. This is the guy we voted for, right? So we get what we get. And I'll just say this. I mean, tonight? No, wait a minute. When is it? Is it Sunday night? Whenever the next game is for the NBA finals. It's been amazing. I don't watch these things anymore. I just see the highlight reels the next morning. But the very idea that the New York Knicks, which haven't won this championship since 1973, and haven't been in this title game since 1999 against the San Antonio Spurs, are one game away from winning. But what I do like about this is just that it's New York. As much as I hate Mondami and Democrat politics and stuff like that, there's something special about the New York Knicks, no matter what. And they go down, they win the championship. People will try to figure out how to compare them to that glory days in 1973 with some of the best players we ever had. The Bill Bradleys, the Willis Reeds, Walt Frazier's. So this is great, and the way they won the game the other night was incredible. And so I loved watching the camera pan to people like Spike Lee and Jerry Seinfeld. And they're like, did we just see what we saw?
Spike Lee is still around. He's still relevant.
Yeah, so the Madison Square Garden, they have a celebrity section specifically where all celebrities sit. They come for free, right? They don't even pay for it. They come and they sit there because it's good for the Knicks. It's good for the Garden because people know, they can see the stars down there. They know where they are. They become kind of instant marketing, and they show up. Timothée Chalamet and all these people. So it works. It's New York. Has
Hillary showed up for this?
About New York, you've got to love it, right?
Yeah. Has Bill and Hillary showed up for these games, by the way?
Yeah, I don't think so.
By the way, Hillary endorsed David Trump. I saw the commercial today where Hillary wrote a letter. Dear David, thank you for fighting for women. But so
anyway, that's about it. It's like you said, it's hot and it's humid. We're going to get some thunderstorms, but that's what we get. It's June, and June, July, and August. It looks like we'll have our dog days this year.
Yes, we will. And thank God I'm not gardening, because I would not want to go pick anything.
Well, the only time you can even attempt to garden is early in the morning, and even then it just depends, because if you wake up and it's 75 degrees and 80% humidity, you're probably not going to want to garden much. It's the humidity.
I used to get up around 5 to go outside to water and do stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just but this is what we know. We know this is what living in Washington. So I do want to say something about Susan had a thing about making deviled eggs. Deviled eggs, one of the greatest things around. I love deviled eggs.
That is one of the greatest inventions of Western civilization. Even though I don't like them, but it's people like them.
Yeah, the only time I ever get deviled eggs is if I go to Golden Corral.
But they're
which you and I have been to.
Yes, and I did not like it. I did not like it at all. I don't know what everyone likes about a buffet. I think Old Country Buffet was much nicer than Golden Corral.
Well, so when we go, we don't, we go for for the getting the birthday, the free birthday lunch when you buy one and kind of thing like that. Or if we're just happening to be up in Frederick shopping and we want to do something, and we'll buy the gift cards at a discount at Sam's Club and then use them to make the lunch cheaper or the meal cheaper. But we now we kind of do this as a brunch, kind of tail end of breakfast, beginning of lunch. Their breakfast stuff there is actually pretty good, but they're known for their fried chicken, which is really, really good. It's kind of funny. I mean, you have Golden Corral with good fried chicken. Royal Farms is known for their fried chicken.
And KFC.
Yeah, so my wife and I are still saying that the couple places that we need to go eat because we've heard that their food is good despite the locations.
Have you tried Nando's Peri Peri?
I just came back from that today. So they had a promotion today because of the World Cup, and that is if you wear it was going from 5 to 8, so it's over now. But if you wear a soccer jersey because of the World Cup, there was somebody at the front door. They gave you a card, and that card was good for a quarter chicken and fries, free.
There you go.
And we had ordered ahead for some other food so that we could have more fuller meal. And we walked in there in Rio, and I have never seen so many people. And that kitchen
it's like
was
Guapos on Cinco de Mayo. It's so packed.
Yeah, it was just crazy. But that Nando's has got, that's not fried chicken. It's different kind. It is great chicken. They've got a great sauce. It's interesting to see with chicken how the different things wind up with. Matter of fact, if you go to Colombia now or that area, so where we go to eat at Raising Cane's, which has got the best chicken tenders I've ever had. Chick-fil-A just opened up a month ago next door. On the other side, which ages ago was a Boston market, is being developed into a Pollo Campero. So
Boston Market, I'm surprised there's any of those still around.
Yeah, I don't know where they are, but
Boston Market, the biggest problem with Boston Market is they over kind of saturated the market. There was like one on every block, it seemed like for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just I think they tried to do too much, and they kind of got out.
Although that location by AIM, I think, was cursed because every restaurant did not last in that place.
Yeah,
that
Boston Market.
The Indian place closed.
Deli Daba lasted a little bit.
And then it's something else. Now it's not even there.
Well, I mean, they've redeveloped the whole space anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in Colombia, I've never seen a shopping area where you have 3 chicken places next to each other. Boom, boom, boom. It's like, I don't know. I mean, if I'm the owner of a franchise, I'm like, I guess they're they can do that because there's nothing that bars that in my lease. But it's like there's no better way to kill your business is to all of a sudden have 3 of them in a row lined up.
What you do is you go there and open up a pizza place there, and then everybody will come to you.
Yeah. No, I mean it's just, but yeah. So anyway, it's Nando's. That was great. I mean, I don't own any soccer jerseys myself, but my boys did. So we went to the closet because we still have a lot of their clothes.
Yeah.
And we picked out, it's like, okay, well, I'll just wear this jersey.
See, I just can't get into soccer. I really can't. I don't view that as America's sport. I see that as Mexico's sport, not our sport. Our sport is baseball.
It is. I mean, it's a European and a South American sport, right? It's called football, right? And it's just, and it's, you have to have a lot of patience because there's a lot of running up and down the pitch.
Yeah.
But there's not necessarily a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, just like Europeans love cricket also, and as do people in the Caribbean and stuff. What the hell was that? Play baseball, for crying out loud. It's not even a real sport. Cricket.
Yeah, I'll be at a baseball game next Saturday.
Hey, also save the date when I give it to you. But the PGGOP is doing event with Bowie Bay Sox.
The
Out
Chesapeake Bay Sox now.
Oh, really?
They renamed themselves.
Well, what do they think? Well, because they think it's people are going to think, oh, it must be nicer. It's not, we're not going to Bowie. We're going to Chesapeake. It must be in Anne Arundel County, not in PG County. I mean, is that what?
Yeah, I mean they apparently spent.
They're back to being affiliates with the O's again.
Well, they have been.
I thought they was it the Keys that stopped being affiliates.
So what happened with the Keys is that they became, for the last couple of years, I think at least, they were in the what's called the draft league. So they had all these prospects that from college playing because Major League Baseball reorganized minor league baseball, and when they did that, they set standards for all the stadiums, the clubhouse, and everything like that. And that stadium up there, Naimio Field, did not meet those standards. So they also got help with the state, and they spent millions of dollars, and they got it up to snuff. So they're back to being an A affiliate. So what they did was that they swapped their affiliation with the Aberdeen Ironbirds. So Aberdeen is now the draft league, and the Keys are now back to being the O's A league team.
Okay, cool.
But
anyways,
we're going to a Bay Sox game next Saturday with our senior or church guys and that I arranged.
Oh, good. Yeah. So now they're the Chesapeake Bay Sox. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean the funny thing was that they kept sending emails saying like big announcement, and then they started discounting the Bowie Bay Sox stuff in the store. But I mean they weren't like giving you like 80% off. They might have been going 30-40% off. And then they announced they were changing their name to Chesapeake Bay Sox, and I'm like, well, you should have been selling your Bowie Bay Sox gear for like 80-90% off. Clear it out of there so you can.
What they should have done is they should have renamed it the Chesapeake Seafood House.
I remember that place. I ate a lot of hush puppies there.
Are they still around or are they gone?
I haven't seen one for ages. So.
Yeah. That and Arthur Treacher's, I think, were the Maryland chains for seafood. Arthur Treacher's, remember them?
Oh yeah, I mean, back when I was a teenager, I used to go to the one in DC on 14th Street, Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're definitely in extra innings now.
Yep. I think we're done.
Yeah. Good night, everyone. See everyone next week.
Everyone. Thanks a lot. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's go down to Missoni, where Italian cuisine shines. Let's go